Okay, so I made my mold for my head, for my Sentinel head, and then this was the first casting that I made, um, because I wanted to have the bottom portion solid, and I figured I would just route out the inside to put the lights on the inside. Um, but this one I didn't pour enough of the resin. You can see it just barely comes up to the top of the crown. I wanted to have the complete crown, and then I would just have the dome as a separate lid. But you can see it just barely got some of the crown, and then it's actually not even here. It's not even full. So this is a bust. So that was the first one. And then I poured another one trying that one, and I got a little bit better, figuring out how much to pour in there. So this is another solid one. Got almost all the crown, but I didn't get all the crown. So you can see I didn't even drill out the mouth because I had to have a piece of tape on the back so that the resin would fill in here. Otherwise, it would be locked into the rubber mold. So didn't even bother drilling this head out either because this one's kind of useless because I don't have the full crown. Part two. It's trial and error. So then I figured I would do what's called rotocasting on the next one. Now rotocasting is I'm using for the liquid plastic. I'm using this. I'm using the 65D, the smooth cast, which is it dries very quickly. It only has a pot life of a few minutes. So what happens is you pour in about half of what you need into the mold, and then you just kind of swish the mold around, and then the plastic coats to the edges, and then it's hollow in the middle. So this was the cap that went on there. So I did a full head, and then I used a little hacksaw to cut off the top. So it was actually semi-solid in the bottom, and then semi-solid in the top, and then you can see there's like a little hollow space in the skull cap, and then the rest of it's solid. So it's actually very thin. I can actually almost poke my finger through here. So this is like trying to figure out how to do this rotocasting. It really is just like a trial and error type of thing. I mean, there's 1,000,001 videos you can see how this is done, but I'm not satisfied with this, even though I do have the full head and it's hollow, because if I put the light in there, then it's so thin that the whole head lights up. The light is coming through the head, so that's no good. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just pour a solid one. So the next one I did, it didn't even finish to the top, so I figured I would use the dome from this one. The head is no good, but the dome is okay. So I'll put the dome on a different one. This one's a solid one, and then I just used like a drill to get started, and then I used some Dremel. I had one little Dremel thing. I got to buy a new Dremel portion to put in here and route this out, and that way I can still have this thick enough where light won't go through, but it's big enough where I can make a hole big enough where I can put this inside for the lights, to light the eyes. So that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to make it a solid one, and then we're just going to drill it out whatever size we need. And I found something really cool. I'll show that to you in the next video. It's actually like a little clear resin plastic cat toy that I had hanging around the house, and I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to drill a hole in here and insert this plastic cat toy handle into here so that the light will actually transmit through the little resin plastic. So I'll have this painted black on the inside, so no light will escape from the lid, and it'll only come through the little eyes. And I think that should look pretty cool. I'm going to do some tests on it with some of these waste ones, see if it'll work. And I think that should work. Now, another thing I did is I went to my favorite place. I went to the dollar store, and I cleaned them out on these. Ta-da-da-da-da-da. I got they had 4, which is exactly how many I needed. These are like the little magnetic pickup tools. So if you drop a screw in a car engine or whatever and you can't reach it, then you just elongate this little guy out and it'll pick up the screw. But if you've got 2 of them, the little heads are magnetic. They've got a nice little way of joining each other, really strong magnetic grip. So I'll just pop the heads off these bad boys, and I'll put one down inside here on this portion, and another in the lid in the skull cap, and then one in the back, and one on the top here, so that I can just go snap, and it'll just hold it right into place. and then if you need to, you just slide it sideways to get it off, to be able to get the light out of it. But that should be a perfect way to hold it. So I'll just drill a little hole out for wherever I need to put this little guy, and then I can take some of the sculpting putty and mush it in there, and then push that in there so it will be permanently affixed in there, and it can be exactly the right height. So I think I got a little bit more work to do. You can see I did route out some of these mouths, and I actually made a completely solid head. And this one I needed to do some finishing work on these. These are really great. My wife really loves it. I'm gonna just make one of these just as something for her desk. Might even sell some of these guys if I can figure out how to get it exactly done. Maybe sell them on eBay, so people want to buy their own Nico Iron Man and turn it into a Sentinel. They'll have the head. But that's where we are right now, and I'll do another video soon, and we'll show you what the finished head looks like.